Hey friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is all about how to move with your family without losing your mind. I have just moved from a 2,000 square foot house that we lovingly renovated to a 6,000 square foot cabin in the woods that is walking distance to a Starbucks.
John, what do you think of our new house?
It's amazing!
What? Hold on, wait. What? Say that again?
It's amazing!
It's amazing? Evelyn, what about you? Do you like our...
Oh my word, like honestly, I still can't believe that this is our home. I'm so grateful and excited. My kids have so much room to run around and play, and it's just so inspiring every day to wake up to this view. And I promise there will be a full house tour on the channel super soon. But what I really want to share with you today is how to make a move successful, reduce the stress, reduce the overwhelm, reduce just like all the things that are hard about moving, because I basically learned all the things that one should not do when moving. And if you have any tips on moving, if you've moved a bunch of times, or just if you found things super successful, will you leave them in the comments below? Let's start a big fat thread to help people move successfully. I'm really hoping this video helps save you some energy, some emotional stress, and some physical stress. Tip number 1 is to purge before you pack. We really wanted to get our house sold fast, and we wanted to put our house on the market way before Christmas. And so it required us to move really quickly. And one of the ways that we moved quickly was to hire packers to help us declutter our home. And so they came in and they did everything for me. I just pointed at all the things that, you know, were non-essentials that we could live without for like a month and allow our home to be staged nicely. But because of that, I didn't take the time to purge, you know, the majority of our stuff. I just had them pack it all into boxes and said goodbye. And this proved to be very exhausting on the other end, unpacking all these boxes that I had not seen for probably about 2 months. And let me tell you, when you have not physically seen something for 2 months, you probably do not need it. So I really encourage you to purge first. It's just so much easier on you physically when you're unpacking boxes. It's easier when you're physically moving rather than moving all the stuff that you're gonna get rid of anyways. Get rid of it first to cut your packing energy down quite a bit. My next tip is to make a schedule for packing. I am not sure why I did not do this. I kind of threw strategy out the window in a lot of respects, but if I'm being honest, it I think came down to that I emotionally did not want to pack. I was not emotionally prepared for the feelings of walking around my empty house, this house that I had brought all these kids home from the hospital to, this house that we lovingly renovated from top to bottom. This house that we called our own for basically 10 years. So I really wasn't emotionally ready to kind of, you know, go through the process of packing, and that's why I put it off for so long. So I essentially left it all to the week before our closing date, and that was not a good idea. What I wish I would have done, and what I would encourage everybody to do, is just spread it out into some kind of a manageable schedule, whether it be 2 weeks, whether it be a month even, and just have target deadlines. Because what happened to me, which I hope doesn't happen to anyone, is there were so many areas I just kept forgetting about. So the movers would be like, okay, are we all done? Has everything been taken care of? And then I would open the area under my stairs and realize, oh my gosh, there is so much stuff here still to be packed. I honestly think would have saved myself a lot of emotional stress and physical stress if I had done this with just a little bit of planning and maybe done some of the, you know, grunt work ahead of time. So have a schedule for your packing. My next tip, and this is the big one that I hope you remember if you remember nothing else from this video. Pack your personal items like you're going on a 1 to 2 week vacation. Okay, so let me explain what I mean by this. I did not pack with strategy, and because it was so last minute and because my moving day was so chaotic, a lot of things got thrown into random boxes. And we labeled them, and they were labeled with the room that the random things were in, but it was not strategic to throw things into boxes. Let me give you an example. So we pack up all the stuff, and my husband's computer charger for the computer he uses every single day for work ended up getting thrown into a random box labeled office. Now you think, okay, that's not a bad strategy. It's labeled office. Don't you know, we get to the new house, there's probably 15 boxes labeled office, and of course no one has energy to unpack all the boxes. And my husband is with a laptop that is now going to die. And so then we had to go through all these boxes while exhausted, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it would have saved myself so much energy and hassle if I had just put, you know, the laptop with the charger in like his side bag, in his suitcase, whatever. But so basically just pack like you're gonna go on vacation. Things to include might be like, you know, medications, toiletries, a couple days worth of clothing, anything that you need that is essential for you to run your business or work from home. Any like books or things that are special to you, like your Bible, your journal. Like, don't throw all these things into random boxes labeled books, because I can just trust me, there's just too many boxes to unpack, and if you need them quickly, you won't be able to find them. The final funny story I will tell you is we had school the next day for all my kids. I cannot find underwear and socks anywhere. We obviously packed them, but for whatever reason, they must have been at the bottom of a box or whatever. But when we got to our new house, no one could find underwear and socks. I literally had to go and buy jumbo packs of underwear and socks for all of my children so they could get to school successfully. So think about packing the essentials like you would be packing for a holiday. My next tip is to have an unpacking plan. Have a plan similar to your packing plan, but on the other end. And this is where I think it's really great to involve family and friends. As I mentioned, we hired movers because we just didn't want to like inconvenience family and friends around us. We've had family and friends help us move before, and we just didn't want to put them through all of that work. But this is something that I would absolutely, you know, call upon my friends who are good at this for. There are people in your life, I am sure, who love organizing, who love unpacking, who love putting things into like items. And when you are exhausted, at least my experience was that I just didn't want to look at another box. I did not want to decide what to do with another thing. And to have like friends who will come over and in short bursts, like 3-hour bursts, just come over and say, okay, we're gonna get through these 5 boxes and we're gonna organize them into files and then we're gonna put them on this shelf. It's so helpful, it's so motivating. Things that you're emotionally attached to, they can just sort of help you be like, nope, you don't need that, goodbye, garbage, blah, blah, blah. So have like a strategy and give yourself like a good like week or 2 weeks to, you know, have time and space to unpack and make your house a home. And then this is a really big one, and this is where I think it's like, I don't know, the most challenging for me, to be honest. So I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I really like control, and I find it very challenging when things don't live up to my expectations. And this was a really challenging experience for me. I was not prepared for how emotionally draining and physically draining. And of course, I'm like 20 weeks pregnant. So of course that like impacted the whole physical and emotional aspect of this entire operation. But I really wasn't, I just wasn't like prepared for how emotional I would be about leaving my former home. I was not prepared like to walk through the you know, empty shells of rooms where we had like brought home our kids, and like, you know, just like where we had made so many memories as a family. Anyways, like it was just so overwhelming. So that was overwhelming. And then it was also overwhelming to come to my new house where I had so many like hopes and expectations and excitement, and then have all kinds of things go wrong. So like, let me remind you that I've done interior design for the last 10 years, and for a chunk of those years, I worked on Property Brothers shows where we'd come in and do a house in like 2 days. Literally, I'd go from post-construction and 2 days later to magazine quality image perfection. And I was so irritated, and I was very honest about this on Instagram. If you want to read it, I'll post the links below. but I was just so irritated that I couldn't have that kind of experience here, that I couldn't have that sort of like, you know, wow, Property Brothers moment in my own space. And I realized this had a lot to do with my own, you know, sort of like need for perfection, my own comparison to things I've done in the past. And it's just not fair to compare, because Property Brothers shows it's not my stuff. A lot of stuff gets thrown into the basement. You know, like it's a lot more objective, and I'm not managing my own 6 children in the same house that I'm trying to, you know, design and organize and make beautiful. One of the things that I found also very overwhelming about this period was that I would like clean one area and then I would move on to another area. And by the time I had gotten back to the first area, you know, my toddler had found another box of things to discover that they hadn't seen in so many months. And, you know, it just kind of was this endless cycle of like, organize a little bit and then take like 5 steps backwards, and then, you know, make a little bit of progress and then just, you know, retreat a little bit again. And I just found that like so overwhelming. So what I want to share with anyone else out there who has like challenges with perfection or, you know, grand expectations and then get really disappointed when they're not met, is to just expect the unexpected and just be grateful for whatever happens and to just, you know, manage your own expectations and instead look for ways that you can be grateful for anything. I am grateful that I have all these boxes that continue to, you know, make a mess in my home. I am grateful for the 6 little pairs of hands that are excited to find all these things that they haven't seen for months because they've been in storage. I'm grateful for all the space. I am grateful for the beautiful view. I'm grateful for the new furniture that we've recently purchased. Like, you know, it can be so challenging to live in chaos, but in a couple weeks, it won't be as chaotic, you know? Like, I'm now 2 weeks out, almost 3 weeks out now from my move, and already the space feels really peaceful. We're not hunting around as much for stuff. I'm now starting to really purge and get rid of a bunch of stuff so that we can be even more organized. And so it does come with time. You know, there's always solutions. There are always possibilities. And I think in the crunchy time of stress and pressure and the feeling to make your home look perfect, if we can just look for areas to be grateful, if we can just look for opportunities to find joy and to remember what an amazing gift it is to live in a new house, like I just think all of those things are helpful in keeping perspective, and then just remembering that like the chaos will end. All things pass, and I just can't wait to share a house tour with you when it really has all passed. So yeah, I don't know. Moving is tough. Doesn't matter if it's just you moving or just a couple moving or one child or a bunch of kids. I think moving is going to be hard regardless, even when you do have help. So I hope these tips have been helpful for you to, you know, hopefully just like, you know, cut a little bit of the stress, maybe save you some money, maybe save you some time, but really just live your most beautiful life possible. If you like this video, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button below. And cheers to designing your beautiful life.